Hey guys, Enzo Flojo here, and this is the Mabuhay Basketball Podcast, the only show that brings you the latest scoop on everything basketball here in the Philippines. Whether you're a diehard fan, a casual observer, or just looking for some good old-fashioned hoop talk, you've come to the right place. So whether you're a fan of the PBA, the UAAP, the NCAA, Gilas, or any other league in the Philippines, we've got you covered. And if you're just discovering the exciting world of Philippine basketball, we're here to guide you through every dunk, crossover, three-pointer, and controversial college transfer. So get ready to be entertained, informed, and inspired as we delve into the world of Philippine basketball. This is the Mabuhay Basketball Podcast. Let's talk some hoops. Hey guys, Enzo Flojo here, and this is episode 10, I think, of the Mabuhay Basketball Podcast. In this episode, we'll share another quick reaction. It's a quick reaction video again. This time to the release of the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup Draw Seedings. Now, this is not yet the groupings for the World Cup. These are the seedings, mga nakapots siya. So we have 32 teams in the World Cup. They're divided into 8 pots. That's not the groups, pots pa lang yun. And from the pots, the draw will happen to create our 8 groups. So for this episode, we're going to watch that explainer video from FIBA. We're going to recap the seedings, maybe get some fan comments on it. And then we're going to maybe talk about what would probably be the ideal draw for Gilas. And lastly, we're actually going to try to simulate a draw for the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Okay, so without further ado, let's watch that video. All right, so this is the video created by FIBA to explain what's going to happen in the FIBA Basketball World Cup draw. Okay, let's watch.
32 teams have qualified to play in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The hosts, Philippines and Japan, 5 teams from Africa, 7 teams from the Americas, 6 teams from Asia and Oceania, 12 teams from Europe. The 32 teams have been distributed into 8 pots of 4, based on the latest FIBA Men's World Ranking presented by Nike, updated after the last game of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. Philippines, as group and final phase host, is placed in pot 1.
Let's go, Gilas.
All other teams are placed in their respective pot in order of ranking.
So all the pots are created in terms of their FIBA World Ranking. You can check that out on the FIBA website. Except for the Philippines as main hosts, we're put in pot 1.
8 groups of 4 teams each, Group A to Group H. Groups A and B will be playing in Manila, in the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Groups C and D will also play in Manila, in the Mall of Asia Arena. Groups E and F will play in Okinawa, Japan. Finally, Groups G and H will play in the new Indonesia Arena in Jakarta.
Alright, so this is something interesting to take note of. Alright, because here in the Philippines, the 2 arenas for the group matches, this is for the group matches, not the knockout matches, okay? I think the knockout matches will all be at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. So, good luck, parking. Good luck getting out of the parking in that arena. That the Philippine Arena is a little notorious for that. But groups A and B will play in Araneta in QC, and groups C and D will play in MOA in Pasay City. So, whether you're from the north, the south, you're gonna have your options, Of course, if you live outside of Manila or outside of Luzon, then you'll really have to fly in to Manila to see these games in Araneta and in MOA. If you guys are planning to catch Group E and F, they're going to be in Japan, not in Tokyo, not in Osaka. It will be in Okinawa. Okay? In Okinawa. Alright? So that's going to be a very, very nice place actually. I've never been there. But dun yata galing si Mr. Miyagi diba? if I remember correctly. Now, if you're gonna watch the games in Jakarta, then you'll be in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. So just keep those in mind. Now, from someone who covered the last World Cup in China in 2019, I think this will be a lot more compact, which I think has a lot more advantages, no, to be quite honest. No? I remember in China 4 years ago, I think I covered games in 3 cities. No? Parang una in Foshan, then in Dongguan, which was like a bus ride away, like maybe a 1 or 2 hour bus ride away. And then from Dongguan, we had to fly out to Beijing for the last stages of the World Cup. No? But many of the teams, they had to fly from one location to another, no? Even if they were playing actually in the same group, if I remember correctly. And a lot of teams 4 years ago kind of had feedback about that it was logistically a little complicated and a bit exhausting to move from one hotel to the next, from one city to the next. And this is not a bus ride away. This is like a plane ride, no? Away. Here, it's going to be much more compact. So the teams in Japan, teams in Indonesia do not need to fly to Manila unless they make, I think, the last 16, no? Of the tournament. So logistically, this is a bit simpler, a bit more streamlined compared to 4 years ago, which I think a lot of the media people, a lot of the organizers, and a lot of the teams actually will probably appreciate. So of course, the downside is if you're a player, if you're a fan, and you want to tour parts of Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines, obviously you're going to be limited only to Manila, to Okinawa, and to Jakarta. You're not going to be able to see Cebu, for example, right? Or Davao, or any other parts of these countries. Okay, but anyway, let's go back to the video.
To balance the quality of the groups across venues in the first and second round and facilitate geographical distribution, pots 1, 3, 5, and 7 will feed groups A, C, E, and G, while pots 2, 4, 6, and 8 will feed groups B, D, F, and H. The following principles will apply to the draw. Geographical distribution, with no more than one team from Africa, Americas, Asia, and Oceania in each group, and at least one but maximum 2 teams from Europe in each group. In Pot 1, Philippines will be allocated to Group A and will play in the Smart Araneta Coliseum.
Alright, so Gilas
USA
will
was
be in
selected as
Araneta.
preferred team by the host Philippines and will be allocated to Group C in the Mall of Asia Arena.
So USA will be in
In
MOA.
Pot 2, Slovenia was selected as preferred team by the host Japan and will be allocated to Group F in Okinawa. In
Luka
Pot 3,
Doncic
to
fans will
balance
have to go to
geographical
Japan then.
distribution as per the draw principles, European teams can't be drawn with Spain.
Okay, so this is big. So from Pot 3, it's impossible for, let's say, Gilas to be grouped with Brazil because Spain cannot be grouped with the other 3 Pot 3 teams. Ibig sabihin, the only Pot 3 team that can be grouped with Spain is Brazil. Okay, so automatically, Philippines will not be grouped with Brazil, no? Which is sayang kasi Brazil seems like the lowest ranked team in Pot 3, no? So that, on paper at least, that would have been ideal for Gilas.
And Brazil can't be drawn with the USA. In Pot 4, Canada was selected as preferred team by the host Indonesia and will be allocated to Group H in Jakarta. In Pot 5, Dominican Republic can't be drawn with the Americas teams. New Zealand can't be drawn with Australia. Iran can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 6, Mexico can't be drawn with other Americas teams. Latvia and Georgia can't be drawn in a group with 2 European teams. In Pot 7, Group Face host Japan will be allocated to Group E in Okinawa. Jordan can't be drawn with other Asian teams. In Pot 8, Lebanon can't be drawn with China. The 5 pre-allocated teams, Philippines, USA, Slovenia, Canada, and Japan, will be placed in their respective group at the start of the draw.
Alright, so again, Philippines is going to be in Group A. USA will be in Group C. Okay. Canada will, I think, be in Group H in Jakarta. Slovenia will be in Group F in Okinawa, and Japan will be automatically grouped or placed in Group E, also in Okinawa. Okay, so later when we simulate the draw, we're going to kind of put these teams in their respective groups already.
To all of the teams being drawn. Each time a team will be drawn, the draw software will display the available groups. The team will be allocated to the first available group in alphabetical order. After each team is drawn into a group, a competition number between 1 and 4 will also be drawn for that team. This will define the order of games in the respective group in the group phase. The draw is completed when all teams have been drawn in a group and given a group number, and the order of games for the group phase has been determined.
All right, so that's very interesting, no? How that's gonna go. Okay, so the seedings right now, as you can see on screen, or we have the seedings right here. So the Philippines is with Spain, USA, and Australia in pot 1. Again, hindi to groupings. These are not the final groupings. Ha? These are just the pots or seedings for the draw. Okay? France, Serbia, Slovenia, Lithuania in pot 2. Greece, Italy, Germany, Brazil in pot 3. Canada, Venezuela, Montenegro, and Puerto Rico in pot 4. Iran, Dominican Republic, Finland, and New Zealand in pot 5. China, Latvia, Mexico, and Georgia in pot 6. Jordan, Japan, Angola, and Ivory Coast in pot 7. Lebanon, Egypt, South Sudan, and Cape Verde in pot 8. So that's going to be very interesting. Okay. Now, obviously, there are a lot of teams, marquee teams, that are not here playing in the World Cup because they got eliminated in the qualifying round. Top of mind will be Argentina. Now, Luis Scola, weirdly enough, is one of the ambassadors for the World Cup. But unfortunately, his compatriots in Argentina, sina Facundo Campazzo, they were not able to qualify for the World Cup, even if they're, I think, a top 4 team in the FIBA rankings. So sayang. Another marquee team is Croatia, who's not going to be there. Okay, so we're not going to see, I think, Bojan Bogdanovic, Dario Saric. They're not going to be here. Okay, Poland, which had a bit of a Cinderella run 4 years ago in China, not going to be here. Czech Republic, not going to be here. As well, Nigeria, which has a lot of NBA talent, actually, is also not going to be here for the World Cup. So, in a way, we're missing out on a lot of the big names in big countries. But the upside there is so many other countries are being given a chance to showcase to the world what they can do on the world stage. And in a way, right? That's what the World Cup is all about. I mean, it's not about really giving the already strong teams a platform, but it's giving an opportunity for teams who may not be traditional powerhouses to make a splash and make a mark on the international stage, which I think is very, very good. Okay? Now, for Gilas, okay, let's look at the draw. Let's look at that draw seeding again. Okay? For me, in an ideal scenario, okay, let's say we have Gilas. So in an ideal scenario, I would really love for Gilas to be grouped with, we can't be grouped with Brazil, but I guess with Germany, New Zealand, and Ivory Coast. I mean, on paper, these are the lowest ranked FIBA teams that we can be grouped with. Okay, so that would be ideal. If the major objective is to go as far as we can, then finishing top 2 with Germany, New Zealand, and Ivory Coast in our group, I think that's relatively doable. No? Now, the worst case, I think, would be, of course, Gilas is there. Greece with Giannis. Although for the fans, that'd be awesome to have Giannis play in Araneta, right? I would actually say Finland, not Dominican Republic, would be stronger. And then here, we cannot be grouped with Jordan and Japan, so Angola. All right, this would be like the worst case scenario for the groupings, which is still not terrible. I mean, it's still weaker than the grouping we had in China 4 years ago, where we had to go up against Italy and Serbia in that first group, if I remember correctly. So going up against Greece, dehado tayo for sure. Finland also, dehado tayo, but we have a bit of a chance, I guess. Against Angola, if we're full strength, everybody's healthy, and we're able to get the preparation we want in the coming months, I think we have a pretty strong shot against Angola. So finishing number 2 is going to be a long shot, if this is our grouping. Still doable, but extremely unlikely already. Okay, now let's try and spotlight some fan comments. All right, okay. So we have some interesting fan comments here, coming from some fans. All right, so let's look at some fan comments first. Okay, this one is from Witter SR. Okay, so Witter says, I like this because he actually broke down the possibilities for the pool, right? So here are the pool draw possibilities. So like we said, we're already going to be in Group A. We can be with Greece, Italy, or Germany, Dominican Republic, Finland, or New Zealand, and Angola or Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. Again, Philippines, Germany, New Zealand, Ivory Coast, that would be the most ideal scenario for us. Some people might say Italy is stronger than Germany or weaker. I say, kasi Italy, if they're at full strength, and they have all their elite EuroLeague guys, and they have Paolo Banchero as well, and Nico Mannion, and all those guys, man, I think Italy is going to be stronger than Germany, to be quite honest. So, but Germany has a lot of NBA players also. They have the Wagner guys, and you have Dennis Schroeder as well. So Germany is going to be very good. I mean, any team from pot 3 is going to be the favorite to top Group A anyway. So kahit sino makuha dyan, it's going to be very difficult. And then you have all these other teams in the other pots. So it's going to be very, very interesting. If we want to see a lot of superstars in Araneta, then hopefully we get, in Group B, hopefully we get France, maybe Montenegro, and then Latvia. I mean, we're gonna see Kristaps, hopefully, no? Parang hindi pa na pwede kasi dapat 2 European teams lang at most. So maybe France, and then Puerto Rico, and then Latvia, and then maybe Egypt. All right, for pot 8. No, I mean that'll be pretty interesting. We're gonna see a lot of NBA players there, I think. Okay, so that's a good comment from Winter SR. We're not gonna go through these. We're gonna simulate the draw in a bit. This one is from Eric Himmelheber, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Spain and the USA in the same group. No. I think this represents a misunderstanding from a lot of fans. So these are the seedings, not the groupings. Okay, seedings, not groupings. So USA and Spain are in the same pot, which makes sure they will not be in the same group. Okay. Lastly, from Ruby Jane _lover or Zach, kakarnihin yung PH. Again, I think medyo mali yata understanding ni Ruby Jane. Posible pa rin naman karnihin talaga tayo kasi this is the World Cup we're talking about, right? These are the strongest teams in the world, but we're not going to be grouped with Spain and and the USA and Australia in the initial group stage. Okay, I think we have a pretty good chance of making it past the group stage if we have good preparation and if we don't end up with 2 European teams. So let's say we end up with, we'll definitely end up with one, whether it's Greece, Italy, or Germany. Kahit sino rin, mahihirapan tayo. Ideally, we don't get Finland. Okay, either Dominican Republic or New Zealand would be a bit more winnable. Mahirap pa rin, especially if Dominican Republic is at full strength and they bring in Karl Anthony Towns and Al Horford. Mahirap pa rin yun, di ba? and either Angola or Ivory Coast. I think we can take any of those teams. No? So I expect us to have at least one win in the group stage, maybe two. So we'll see. All right. At this point, let's simulate. No? Let's simulate our draw. Let me share my screen here. Obviously, this is very low tech. I'm just using Zoom right here. Okay. So what I did was I customized a script on Google Sheets. Okay. So we have the groupings here. Okay. We're really gonna do it randomly. Okay, and then we're gonna fill this out. So we're gonna do Group A, and then yung ano muna, A, C, E, and G, and then B, D, F, and H. Okay, so what I did was I created where are those? Okay. I created these what I call parang mga ruleta. Alright? These randomizer roulettes. Let me just pull them up really, really quickly. Alright, there you go. Ito mga randomizer na ruleta. Okay? So let's do Group A first. So parang ganito yan. We'll just click this and it will all randomize. Okay, so I want to thank flippity.net for this, for helping me customize this Google Sheets script. Okay, so for Group A, definitely we have Philippines, right? Tapos tingnan natin kung sino yung matitira dito sa tatlo. Okay, let's see. Let's randomize that. Okay, so Italy for sure. We cannot be grouped with Asian teams, so we have to do these last two one more time. Ang kulit ni Iran. Hindi nga pwedeng Asian team. Okay, this is not bad. Okay. So let's say we have Philippines, all right, Italy, Dominican Republic, and Ivory Coast. Okay, let's put that here. Okay, that's not bad. That's actually not bad. All right. I mean, we can work with that kind of grouping, right? And we have here automatic na yan, okay? The Asia, Europe, Americas, Africa. Very good. Now for Group C. Now let's remove all these and randomize. Okay, for Group C, US is gonna be there. All right, and then the others. Let's randomize all these others. USA, Greece, New Zealand, and Jordan. I think that can work. Greece, New Zealand, and Jordan. All right, that's actually not bad. Very winnable for the States, of course. Greece might be number 2 there. Medyo mahirapan ang New Zealand at Jordan dyan for sure. Okay, next is Group E. Okay, so Group E, we have Japan automatically seeded. So let's look at what the others will bring. So it will be Australia, Brazil. It cannot be Iran. So it has to be Finland. Okay, so it's going to be Australia, Brazil, Finland, and Japan. Brazil, Finland. It's going to be tough for Japan because Australia and Finland are going to be very strong. Okay. In that group of Japan at full strength, they're going to be pretty tough also with Rui Hachimura, Yuta Watanabe, Keisei Tominaga. That's going to be a pretty strong team actually. And for the last group, so that's X all of these, no? Okay. Actually, Japan, let's X that. So we have Spain, Germany, Iran, and Angola. Okay. So this will be in Jakarta. Okay. Spain, Germany, Iran, and Angola. Okay. All right. So it's going to be a winnable group for the defending champions, Spain. Germany is going to be a tough group as well. Interesting. Okay. Now let's do the other group. No? All right. Here, we're going to do completely random for Group B. So this is the other Araneta group. All right. Let's see how it goes here. Okay, so we have Serbia, Montenegro, Latvia, and Lebanon. Cannot be because We have 3 European teams. So Latvia has to change. Latvia, wag ka makulit. You have to change. Hindi pwedeng China. Hindi nga pwedeng Latvia. Let's pick the other one na lang. Ayan, Mexico. So, for example, Serbia, Montenegro, and Mexico and Lebanon. Alright? So we're gonna see Jokic. Serbia, Montenegro, Mexico, and Lebanon. Alright, that works. Now for Group D, again, there are no restrictions, I think. Okay, so we have Lithuania, Venezuela, Latvia, and South Sudan. This is going to be in MOA. So Lithuania, Venezuela, Latvia, and South Sudan. All right, very good. It's good. Next, okay, this is Group F. This will be in Okinawa. Slovenia is already going to be part of this group. Okay, so we'll just have to randomize the other 3. So we have, well, Canada cannot be there because they're going to be in Jakarta. So it will be Slovenia, Puerto Rico, Georgia, and Cape Verde. Georgia and Cape Verde. Alright, which means, let's see kung tama, no? Sa last group natin, we have France, Canada, China, and Egypt. So we have France, and this will be in Jakarta. China and Egypt, okay? I think we fulfilled all the criteria. There's no more than 2 European teams in each group and no other subzones in each group, no? So I think this will work, no? So this is just a simulation. This is not the actual draw, obviously, no? But this is how, of course, it's going to be more ceremonial and complicated with the actual draw. But this is kind of a simulation of that. And this is actually not that bad, no? We have Philippines, Italy, Dominican Republic, and Ivory Coast in Group A. We can finish number 2 here. And, you know, if pumutok si Jordan Clarkson against Italy, who knows, right? Anything can happen, diba? Group B, definitely Serbia is going to be the favorite there. Group F, for sure, United States, but Greece is going to give them some trouble. Group D, Lithuania is going to be tough there, along with Latvia, I think. Group E, I think this is going to be Australia's group to win. Japan could actually finish number 2. Group F, Slovenia, of course, is going to be the favorite here. And then maybe Puerto Rico actually could finish number 2 here. In Group G, Spain, obviously, is going to be number 1. Germany, I think, is going to be runaway number 2 as well. For Group H, for sure, it's going to be France and Canada. 2 teams with the highest number of NBA players outside of the US. So these 2 teams can potentially actually finish top 8 or top 4, no? In this tournament. Actually, if you ask me, maybe USA, Australia, France, and Canada are going to be, on paper at least, so the most stacked, the deepest teams, no, in the FIBA Basketball World Cup. So what do you guys think? Okay, that's a simulation of a draw. A main takeaway, Gilas will not be favored in any scenario. We're not going to be favored to advance to the second stage. Hopefully we do, of course. But we're not going to be favored to do that. For being completely honest. Okay? And what's most exciting, so that's the not so good takeaway. The great takeaway is, you know, we're going to have some of the best players on the planet here in Manila. This is going to be the biggest sporting event that the country has ever hosted, I think, in history. Bigger than any Asian Games, I would argue. Okay, so this is going to be so huge for us. I think this is going to draw a lot of favorable attention to the Philippines. We're going to draw a lot of tourists as well. And I think economic activity will be really, really sky high in those 2 weeks, no? Here in Manila at least. And of course, hopefully, all those tourists will come in, will visit, Palawan, Bora, Cebu, or whatever. And it's going to be really, really good, no? If you like this topic, then you should always tune in and, and keep an eye out for the podcast, monitor us, because we're going to have future topics that are just as nice and cool as this one. If you like this, you're going to like our future topics and discussions as well. As always, we're going to spotlight fan comments because we value what you guys think. Our next episode drops tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit more controversial. It's a reaction to the game-fixing allegations connected to Philippine basketball. So that drops tomorrow. Watch out for that. Mabuhay ang Philippine basketball. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Again, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Mabuhay Basketball Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed creating it. So don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, feel free to leave a comment because we love that engagement. And who knows, maybe your comment might be featured next. You can also read my stuff on clutchpoints.com, Tiebreaker Times, and of course, FIBA Basketball. Follow me on Twitter at Hoopnut or Instagram at The Hoopnut for more content and updates. Until next time, keep betting on yourself, shooting your shot, and seizing the moment. Mabuhay ang Philippine basketball.